What's going on, money makers? I'm Brandon Robinson, Director of National Investments at Calvary Realty. Look us up on Google. We got 5 stars. Now, in today's video, I'm going to provide you guys with some key pieces of economic data that you should be following as an investor to see where the market is headed. Following these economic indicators will tell you if we are in a rising market, a declining market, or if we are in a stagnant market. So I know there's a lot of people out there that put together these 100-page reports on economic data, and a lot of it doesn't make sense. It's just a lot of fancy graphs and charts and numbers, and you're thinking, hey, what does that mean? In this video, we're just gonna give you a handful that you can follow, and these are all public. They're all free. It's free. It's public information. You can find it on the Bureau of Labor Statistics website or the Federal Reserve Economic Data website. Let's get into it. Now, the first thing you want to watch, and one of the biggest things to pay attention to, is existing home sales. Now, for those of you that may not know, 70% of storage customers are residential homeowners or residential renters. And a lot of the activity in the home market actually fuels the demand for storage. So when you have a lot of homes being sold, a lot of people moving from one place to another, those folks are usually using storage to store items temporarily. Another thing that you want to pay attention to is new housing starts. As there are more homes and residential units being built, this will create more demand for self-storage. According to companies like Storable and Storage and StoreTrack that put together statistics on the self-storage industry, 10% of homes actually utilize self-storage. So if there is an increase in homes being built, there will be an increase in people using self-storage. Next, you want to watch the median home sales price. Typically, commercial properties will follow the trend that is set in residential properties. Next thing is inflation, or the consumer price index. Now, the reason why this is important is for 2 reasons. Number one, it will show you whether or not your rents and your property values have increased, because as prices increase on goods and services and things that we buy, guess what? The rents at your commercial properties will increase, which will increase the value of your real estate. But it's also a double-edged sword, because if inflation is too high, and which it's been for the past year and a half, the average rate of inflation has been between 7 and 8%. This is an indicator that the Federal Reserve will at some point start raising the interest rate. Obviously, that's going to affect the value of your properties. Next thing you want to pay attention to is the 30-year fixed rate mortgage. Reason why is because the average investor wants to buy property at a cap rate that is equal to or above the 30-year fixed rate mortgage. So if an investor can borrow money at, say, 2% or 3% interest, then guess what? They can pay you a 3.5–4% cap rate. But if those interest rates spike, which they have been the past 9 to 12 months, then that is going to increase the cap rate that an investor wants on buying your property, which will in turn lower your property value. Lower the cap rate, higher the price. As cap rates increase, values decrease. And the 10-year Treasury bill is something you should watch also, because a lot of mortgages, they follow the trend of the 10-year Treasury bill. So if the 10-year Treasury bill is increasing, mortgage rates will likely be increasing. If the rate is staying the same or decreasing, mortgage rates will likely stay the same or decrease. Also, another thing you want to pay attention to is the Wall Street prime rate. Now, the reason why you want to pay attention to this rate for self-storage is because the SBA 7(a) loan is tied into the Wall Street prime rate. I actually found this out a couple of days ago from one of my clients who got an SBA 7(a) loan 7 years ago, or not 7, about 5 years ago. and that rate was Wall Street Journal Prime +2, and it's an adjustable rate mortgage. So as that rate on the Wall Street Journal Prime increased, his mortgage rate increased. So it's good for you guys that use SBA money to follow the Wall Street Journal Prime rate, especially if you're doing the 7(a) program. Another thing you want to pay attention to is the M1 supply, the monetary supply. As there is more money in the bank accounts and in the savings accounts of consumers, that has a big effect on consumer spending. So during COVID, when government was handing out a lot of money, we had a lot of liquid money. That M1 is liquid money. It's cash, it's checking accounts, it's money that you can easily get access to. And because we're a consumer-based economy, as we have more money, guess what? We are going to spend more money. So the more money, more cash we have, that's going to create demand to buy products, goods, services, purchase real estate, and that is going to cause prices to go up. So it's very important to pay attention to that. The next thing you want to pay attention to is the GDP, or the gross domestic product. Now, according to the rule of thumb, if we have 2 consecutive quarters of declining GDP, we are technically in a recession. Now, we actually haven't had any 2 consecutive quarters in declining GDP. So you want to pay attention to that to see whether or not, hey, is GDP increasing? Is it remaining flatline? Or is it declining? Next thing you want to pay attention to is the unemployment rate. You, as a storage owner and investor, want people to be employed. The more people are working and making money, the more they are able to afford to pay for storages. And as that rate of employment goes down, or the rate of unemployment goes down, that means that people have more money to pay you for renting your storage. But as that unemployment rate goes up and gets to say 5%, 10%, now you're going to see some delinquency at your storage units because people just have less money to pay for items like storage. And the final thing that you want to pay attention to is the delinquency on mortgages and consumer loans. Now, the reason why you want to pay attention to this is because people are more likely to pay their mortgage, pay for wherever it is that they're staying, than they are to pay for rent or other type of items. If someone can't afford their mortgage, then guess what? They likely will not be able to afford to pay you to rent your storage unit. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys got something out of those indicators. If you're interested in finding out more about these indicators or knowing the specific websites to follow, feel free to email me, brobinson@calvaryrealty.com. If you're interested in buying or selling commercial property, my firm would love to be of assistance. We got 5 stars on Google. Until next time, keep making money.